Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so this is part 2 of Avoidant Attachment Style versus Narcissist Personality Disorder. Okay, 2 quick thoughts. Number 1, the volume will go down in about 30 seconds, and it'll go down a little bit again in about a minute after that. And the other thing is, remember, I'm a professionally trained life coach, personal development coach, communication expert, and energy healer. If you need help in any of these areas, get a hold of me at mike@mikekollin.com. Okay, so I want to read 2 things off that I just Googled. So yes, an empath can also have an avoidant attachment style. So I mentioned this in the last video. Okay, so the last video you don't have to listen to it to understand this video, but it might help. So it goes on to say empaths who are highly sensitive to the emotions of others, which is pretty much most empaths, might also develop avoidant tendencies due to a history of negative emotional experiences or fear of vulnerability, meaning they got hurt emotionally and possibly physically. The reason why I say this is because this video series really has one overall message. Number 1, to realize just because someone has an avoidant style, it does not mean they're a narcissist, so you have got to separate that, okay? In fact, some people that have an avoidant attachment style, they are empaths. They're extremely kind, sensitive, very, very loving people. Now, there are empaths who are very grounded. I'm finally at that point now. I've worked on it very, very hard for a long time, doing energy healing, energy work, etc., grounding techniques. So not all empaths are these overly sensitive beings. Now, I can still very much absolutely 100% feel energy around me, emotions, feelings, etc. The difference is it doesn't spike my energy. It's not like an electrical cord that's getting spiky energy and electricity is going all over the place. It's very grounded, so the energy flows. So there's a flow pattern versus it having this electrical shock effect. Alright, let's get into the video. So one thing I noticed with avoidance is when you go to hug them, or even if they go to hug you, because they do understand social rules or social behavior, is they might hug you but they don't want to. So when they reach out to hug you, they cringe and they pull away. So realize if you see someone cringing and pull away, they are not comfortable hugging, so do not push that on them. Allow them their space. So the goals of this video and the last video, the goal of these 2 videos is to help you to recognize the difference between an avoidant attachment style versus someone who's a narcissist who has the avoidant style, okay? So let me just read something I Googled about. I Googled, do avoidants lean away from physical touch, okay? So first of all, before I read this off, I want to tell you one thing about narcissists. When they hug you, it's almost like this thinking, like I'm supposed to hug them. It's kind of an awkward, mechanical thing. And there's no feeling of love. There's no feeling, of emotion. Whereas with someone who is an empath with a avoidant attachment style, you can feel their love, but it's like they're trying to protect it. So there's a difference. There's a light versus a darkness. Tugboat on each side. Or there's a warmth versus a cold. With an empath or a pure avoidant, there's a warmth there. There's also like a happiness and a joy. Like they might giggle and laugh and kind of pull away. Oh, okay. But there's this light. There's this joy. Where with a narcissist, it's like a calculated, analytical. I'm supposed to hug. What are we supposed to do here? There's no warmth. There's no light. There's no love. It's just dark. It's cold, and it's literally analytical. It's like they're thinking of what's the right way to hug, or is this the right time to hug? It's a very awkward thing. So I tell people like that, like, look, man, if you're not a hugger, don't hug. You don't have to hug. It's totally okay. Okay, so let me just read this Google thing off real quick here. So yes, I wrote, do avoidants lean away from physical touch? It says yes, people with an avoidant attachment style often lean away from physical touch and emotional intimacy. So while they're kind of doing the arm hug thing, they're kind of pulling away. They lean their head away. They tend to prefer independence and self-reliance, making them uneasy with close emotional or physical connections. This can manifest as a need for space, a reluctance to engage in physical affection, and general discomfort with closeness. Now, there's something that really stood out in that. Okay, let me point it out. They tend to prefer independence and self-reliance. Okay? A narcissist don't do that. They depend on you to help them. And they're not about self-reliance. They're about you regulating them, regulating their emotions. If they're angry, they want you to make them feel happy. If they're feeling alone, they want you to make them feel good. Where someone with, okay, see, this is my point in this video. Someone with an avoidant attachment style doesn't want you to help them. They don't need you. They don't try to pull you in to do things for them. They're like, leave me alone. See the difference? So again, I'm going to read it off. And someone with an avoidant attachment style, they tend to prefer independence and self-reliance. So they tend to kind of go off on their own and spend time on their own. They don't constantly call you. They don't constantly text you. Whereas a narcissist does, because they need you to regulate their emotions and feelings and to help them with life and to deal with their stuff. Whereas an avoidant is like this person that needs help, but they don't want it. They're self-reliant. The other thing that I just kind of let slip out, a narcissist will constantly need to talk. They'll call you at night because they can't sleep, and they'll call you every night if they have to, and they're constantly, whereas an avoidant, they just don't do it. In fact, with an avoidant, let's say you text them, they may not text you back for 2 or 3 days. All right, let's get to it. All right. Okay, so avoidant attachment style versus narcissistic personality. So the question is, are you dealing with someone who has avoidant personality disorder, or attachment style, or a narcissist who has a personality disorder? That's what this is all about. Let's clarify. And where I'm at right now, it's really clear. Like you feel the love, you feel the coldness. Like there's a distinct difference in energy. Okay, so here's the number one question, or probably one of the number one questions. This question comes down to whether or not they can change. So here's the good news. Attachment styles can change, but someone with narcissistic personality disorder, they can't. So the good news is, yes, people that are, have an avoidant attachment style, they absolutely can heal. They absolutely can change for sure. In fact, they're probably already going through the process by doing this avoidant thing. Okay. And just like that video I put in the last video of that kitten, where the kitten was abused basically, and it lashed out at anything trying to get close to it. But there's this new mama cat that was introduced to this kitten's little cave, I call it, little sleep area, and it would slowly go in there, and the baby cat would literally scratch at it, and the mom would kind of turn its back and just kind of sneak in and lay in there and allow the kitten to do its thing with being completely grounded and not showing any kind of aggressiveness back. Okay, I'm going to show the video because they can heal, especially if they have someone that is just emotionally grounded and is loving and allows them to go through their process without striking back. Now, if you strike back at an avoidant, it'll damage them even more. So you need to just let them be. Now, watch how this mama cat does this. This is actually quite beautiful. I'm leaving my music in so I don't get a copy strike for the music in the video. So one difference is an avoidant is going to try to avoid you. Okay, so when you get close to them, whereas a narcissist, they're going to do the opposite. They're going to try to get closer. One thing you'll notice about avoidance, they have this precious energy about them. It's inside them, but you can't quite reach it because they're trying to keep the walls up. So respect that. Respect their space. So there are some similarities and overlaps between narcissist and avoidant attachment styles. Again, they're coming from different perspectives. So they can both be self-centered. The difference is a narcissist is just cold-blooded, self-centered. It's all about me, me, me. Whereas in an attachment style, they're self-centered because they're trying to protect themselves, and that is a complete different thing. They're not trying to use you. They're not trying to get you to do their deeds or their work. They're not trying to get something from you. If anything, they're trying to not get anything from you. It's very hard to help someone with an avoidant attachment style because it feels too intimate, too emotionally open to them, and that if you help them too much, they will pull away. Okay. The other one is they both struggle with, what would I call this? Like intimacy for long periods of time. They may be around you and be friends with you, and they might get close, and the minute they get too close, they'll just pull out, and like you won't hear from them. Okay. So you need to allow that space, and literally, so don't text them every day, don't call them every day, just give them their space. Okay. Whereas with the narcissist, it's more like they're damaged, and they won't give you your space. They'll suck the life out of you. All right, here's another one. Avoidance and narcissist, they both avoid being seen as weak or maybe vulnerable in front of others because they're afraid that people are going to view them as being weak or incompetent. Now, here's the difference. An avoidant does it because they don't want to get their heart hurt. A narcissist does that because they don't want to get their ego hurt. Right there, it's really simple. If you want to be able to see the difference between a narcissist and anyone else, a narcissist does it because of thinking, logic / ego. It's all ego-based, okay? Now remember, the left brain, the ego is external. It's all about what other people think about them. Whereas an empath or someone who's an open-hearted person / someone with a purely avoidant attachment style that is not a narcissist, someone who's probably an empath or just an open-hearted person, they do it because they don't want to get hurt emotionally. It has nothing to do with what other people think. They're afraid if they are viewed as being open or weak or whatever, vulnerable I should say, is that people are going to attack them even more. So these type of people, the avoidance / empaths, they don't want to get hurt emotionally, so they're concerned about other people seeing them as, oh, you're open-hearted, so I'm going to hurt your heart. Whereas a narcissist, it's more about their ego, about embarrassing publicly in front of other people, or taking their job away, or just external things. So it's the external versus the internal. Does this clarify a lot for you? And yes, they're both sensitive to criticism. Again, the difference is one is because they don't want to get hurt emotionally. The other one is they don't want to get their ego damaged. It's external versus internal. It's ego versus open-hearted. The narcissist is doing everything in his power to look good to other people. He wants other people to look at him and think, oh, what a good person. So they can't handle any criticism because in their visual view, all of a sudden everyone looks at them this way and it destroys them, okay? Whereas an empath, it's not about what other people think. It's about how they feel emotionally. Narcissists don't have that capability. It's not about, oh, you hurt my feelings. It's more about, oh my God, you made me look bad in front of all these other people. My whole world's going to come crashing down. Another thing is that narcissists and empaths also, they don't like to be responsible / avoid responsibility on how they affect other people, especially when it comes to how they make other people feel. Now, again, an empath or an attachment style, it's because they feel really bad. They feel like, so they're just like, yeah, I don't want to be involved because I don't want you to get hurt, because I don't want to say something wrong. Whereas a narcissist, they just don't care on an emotional level because they're not connected to their emotions. Okay? They don't care. There's a difference. So an avoidant attachment style, they feel bad. That's why they don't want to hurt you. Therefore, they just want to avoid so they don't have to interact and do something on accident. Where a narcissist, they'll destroy you on purpose, knowing that what they're doing is damaging you personally, emotionally, and publicly, and say, hey, it's not my responsibility. Like they don't care versus empaths / avoidant attachment styles do care. That's the difference. The avoidant doesn't want to hurt you. The narcissist will hurt you to make themselves feel better. They'll do something like take something away, block you from getting a job, and because like they want the job or something, like they'll do something messed up and not care if they hurt you. That's the difference. Or sometimes they'll hurt you simply because they're jealous. You make more money, or you got an opportunity that was offered to you and wasn't offered to them, and they just want to hurt you. They want to lash out and strike you. And here's the deal. They want to hurt you and then say, hey, I don't care. It's not my fault because, well, you got an opportunity. And they'll literally say, because, well, you got this great opportunity, or you worked so much harder than me and you earned it, and I don't like that, and that hurts my feelings. Whereas an empath / avoidant attachment style, they will avoid you because they don't even want to hurt you accidentally. And if they do, they feel so bad they just want to run. It's not because they're a bad person. Okay, so here's a major distinction between how an avoidant attachment and narcissism. So one is, okay, so there's a pattern of regulating closeness and distance. So narcissist, they do love bombing because they're trying to create a very fast and very quick, intense connection with you. And then they take it away when you aren't doing what they want you to do. So narcissists use distance to punish you, to hurt you, to manipulate you, to control you, to make you do what they want you to do. So here's the deal. A narcissist will only use affection to get what they want. So as long as they're getting what they want, they will use closeness. As long as you're feeding their ego, they'll give you a sense of closeness. They'll hug you publicly. They'll show you affection, signs of affection. But that's only if you're feeding their ego. The minute you stop it, or if you don't do it when they want, boom, here comes the coldness. So they're using it to punish you and control you and to manipulate you. An avoidant doesn't do that. Now, one thing, a key, if you don't know what love bombing is, you need to learn about love bombing. Okay, so in someone with an avoidant attachment style, they don't do love bombing. Okay, there's no phase where they love bomb you. They are consistent with the way they show affection, how much they show affection, how close they get, and the level of comfortableness they have with you in the beginning. And it tends to be that way across time. It's not like this overwhelming level of love and affection and closeness, and then they stop it like a narcissist does. It's just very consistent. They kind of hug you but pull away at the same time, and they hug you the same amounts. Like they only hug you at the very end. It just tends to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It tends to be consistent. It's not where they, like a narcissist, love bombs you. It's overwhelming. It's every moment. They could buy you presents, gifts, take you out to dinner, say all these wonderful things, and then one day it just stops. That's not an avoidant attachment style. With an avoidant attachment style, it's very consistent from the very beginning all the way months and years down the road. It just doesn't change. Because this is literally their style versus using it as a tool to get what they want, which is what a narcissist does. That's why it changes with narcissists. Now, avoidance, what they will do is they'll use distance to regulate their discomfort with closeness, and thus it makes them feel safe. Okay? So in general, they've got hurt really bad, or they've never really trusted anyone for whatever reason. And when they did trust someone, they got hurt. So this is why they'll pull away when they're getting too close. So avoidants tend to be very hesitant to get close to anyone again. Okay, so this tends to be like this is just the way they are until they heal. So being close to someone emotionally or being intimate can feel, it's like overwhelming for them, and it's not comfortable. Because now it's just like that little kitten, even though the mama cat was trying to love it, avoidants register this as a threat when they're getting close to someone. It scares them, and it literally registers as this person has become a threat to them. So to them, in their mind, being close to people It takes away from their own freedom and their own autonomy, okay? Unlike narcissists. Narcissists want to control you because it gives them more power, thus a sense of more freedom. So with avoidant attachment style, distance isn't about controlling you or punishing you. It's about them protecting their heart and protecting their emotions. So begin to notice when someone with an avoidant attachment style actually distance themselves from you. So are they doing it to punish you? Are they doing it to control you? Or are they doing it to protect their heart? And also notice when they do it. Did you start getting close? Did you hug them a little extra long? Are you spending a lot of time with them? Did they start to open up? See, some people will open up, especially if you're an empath. People will just open up to you. And that's what may happen. They may open up and go, oh, what did I do? And then they'll pull back. They'll pull away. So notice if that's what happened. If it is, that's just them saying, hey, I'm scared. And that's okay. Now, here's the deal. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't be in a relationship or a friendship with an avoidant. Because if you're not emotionally grounded enough to handle it, I wouldn't recommend it. You know, even if you are an empath, it's, you know, the point being is like if you're damaged, it's not going to help them or you. You're just going to hurt each other. You really should be someone who's really far beyond, years beyond the isolation phase where you're really emotionally grounded. You deal with things a lot better. People giving you dirty looks. You're like, yeah, whatever. You have to get to a point where you're okay with this stuff. Just like the mama kitten or the mama cat that was trying to get close to the kitten just to give it some love and support so it can begin to heal. That little kitten, if you really look closely, it was literally lashing out. It had its sharp claws out trying to scratch at the mom, and the mom just, it's okay. But if you're a damaged empath and if you're not emotionally grounded and solid, it's going to hurt your feelings. If you're getting your feelings hurt, pull away and realize you are not the best person for this person because you're just going to damage them more, and it's also going to set you back, okay? You're actually doing a disservice to them if you're not really emotionally grounded. If you're taking things personal, you are doing a major disservice for them. You really should give them their space and essentially let other people help them. All right, so another sign to tell the distinction between an avoidant versus a real narcissist is in how they regulate their emotions and their sense of who they are, their self. So narcissists absolutely demand that you regulate their emotions, all right, and manage their self-esteem. So narcissists, okay, when you're dealing with a narcissist, you are completely responsible for how they feel. Period. End of sentence. That's how they look at you. You're the person who regulates them like a thermostat. If it gets too hot, you have to come in and calm them down. If they're depressed, you got to come in and step in and you got to lift them up. Okay. Where with an avoidant, they are hyper independent. They don't need you. They don't rely on you. They don't want you to come in and regulate their emotions. In fact, it'll cause them to pull away. So narcissists depend on you. Basically, it's like you define who they are based on who you are. So in their world, well, if I'm with this person, then I must be a good guy and acceptable, okay? And therefore they can walk around feeling comfortable in society. But if you look at them like they're a bad person, oh, this just completely flips them out because suddenly like I'm not acceptable in society. Remember, narcissists all about the people around them. Whereas in avoidant, it's all about how they feel inside themselves. See, with avoidant, it's completely opposite of a narcissist. They don't need you, okay? In fact, it's completely the opposite. They cling to their sense of self. And it's completely separate from you. So see, whereas the narcissist, you are who they are. In fact, okay, a lot of you have dealt with a real narcissist and it's very creepy. They start to become you. They start to talk like you. They start to dress like you. They start to walk like you. And one thing, because you may not notice in the beginning because they've probably followed you around and looked at how you talk and went on your social media before you met them. And they start to become like you before you've ever met them. So you just assume, oh, this is just the way they are. But then watch how pay attention to how they are with completely different groups of people. They'll change their political party. They'll change their radical beliefs. I remember I had one narcissist literally one night said, yeah, I'm a Republican. And the very next day about 16 hours later, he was around a group of people that he knew, and suddenly he hated Republicans and hated Republican this. He's a total liberal. And I'm sitting there going, wait, what? Like, he told me the complete opposite last night. It was just like night and day, and his beliefs changed radically. So someone with an avoidant attachment style, they cling to their independence. They cling to their self-dependence. And it's all of it's completely separate of you. It has nothing to do with you. It's kind of a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. Now, another way of noticing the difference between narcissist and avoidance is how they deal with conflict, how they manage it. Avoidance, they don't like conflict at all. They don't like to argue. They are much more likely to change the conversation, walk away, leave, hang up the phone, and ignore that argument or problems altogether. Because conflict and arguments and even fist fighting, there is a level of intimacy there, and that's what they're avoiding. They're like, I don't want to get this personal, I don't want to get this intimate with you, and they take off. Now, you may remember back in middle school and high school when you got into a really intense fight with, like, a physical fist fight with someone. Here's the weird thing that I noticed in high school. Like, I remember watching these guys fight. I think it was in 11th grade, and they became best. I mean, this was a real knockdown, drag-out fight. And my friend actually timed it, because most fights last about a minute, but you swear you were in a 20-minute fight, right? Well, this fight actually lasted about 3.5 minutes, and they were exhausted. And they thought, man, that fight must have lasted 15 minutes. We're like, no, dude, it was like 3 minutes and 20 seconds. But the point being was, it didn't happen right away. They had to be separated. But literally, I don't think it was more than 2 weeks, and they started hanging out and talking. They became best friends for life. To this day, they're best friends. When you have a really intense fight with someone or a really intense argument, you get to know them on a deeper level. It's the same thing with intimacy, physical, sexual intimacy. You get to know that person. It's like suddenly you understand things about them, and you don't know how you know these things. Like, you just know them. That's why the Bible says to get to know them. It means to have sex with them, because when you do that, you suddenly understand them, almost like how computers can connect to each other and download information. All of a sudden, you understand things about them that other people don't, even though they've known them for years. So fighting and arguing is very personal. It's a very intimate thing, and they run from that. The reason for sharing that is fighting, arguing, disagreeing, having conflicts can be very personal. And avoidance literally avoid intimacy of any kind. Whereas narcissists, on the other hand, they purposely start fights, they start arguments, they start conflicts, yelling and screaming and fighting and all the BS, because they're trying to destabilize you. Whereas an avoidant, they're trying to keep themselves stabilized by avoiding you. Are you now starting to understand why I'm making this video and the video before these last two videos? Because a lot of times avoidants get attacked being treated like, oh, you're a narcissist, when they're not at all. You just got hurt because they pulled away from you. They didn't attack you. They didn't stab you in the back. They didn't talk behind your back. They didn't get you fired from a job. They had no ill intentions towards you at all. So do not treat them like they're doing this stuff, because they're not. They're just trying to protect themselves. So when you get too close to them and you jump over their boundaries and you push yourselves on them, they will lash out. That is not your fault. That's you not respecting their boundaries. That is not narcissist abuse. That's you not giving them space. Give them space. They do not have the capability to get intimate with people. They are just not there. So don't try to force that. Even emotional intimacy or mental intimacy, you have to understand. Give them their space mentally, verbally, emotionally, and physically. So if they lash out at you, well, you might want to go look in the mirror and reflect on what you did and how close you got. Not just physically, but it could be emotionally. In fact, it really is emotionally. And you might be saying, but Mike, I was being nice to them. I was being loving. I was being kind. I was trying to be helpful. Yeah, back off. Now, the reason I'm saying it like that is because it's kind of an odd thing to an empath. Like, wait a minute, so you're telling me by being helpful, by being caring, by checking in on them, by, texting them and calling them. Yeah, you're scaring the crap out of them. And yes, I know it's kind of an odd concept to understand or even accept. Trust me, I know, because I used to do that. You could say I've learned, I've grown, I've changed. So I tend to be very, I would say, protective of avoidance. Because they're very, very misunderstood. They generally tend to be attacked because people get hurt by pushing themselves on them, saying, oh, I love this person, they're so kind, they're so sweet, they're so this. And then like that little kitty cat that struck back at the mama cat that was trying to comfort it, they get all hurt. They literally, you get butt hurt, and you get your feelings hurt, and you think, oh, well, that was so mean of them. What? They're trying to protect themselves. You know, the reason I'm going round and round on the same subject for more than a minute is because it's a hard concept to go, wait a minute, so you're telling me that by me being kind to them, by me helping them, by me trying to spend time with them, by me trying to hug them, yes, you are hurting them, you're scaring them, and they're going to withdraw. Just be there. Allow them to come to you. That's it. They need to go through a healing process, okay? Forcing them to change is only going to damage them more. Forcing hugs on them, forcing love on them, gifts, help, it's just going to hurt them. It's going to make them withdraw even more. If you really care about this person, just be available and let them know. Say, hey, you need a call, need to talk, need a buddy to hang out with? Hey, let me know. I'm here for you. That's it. So, can they learn over time to develop intimacy, to get closer to you? The good news, yes. But you have to let them do it. You have to just be there like the mama cat. Now, the mama cat technically invaded that little kitten's space, but the mama cat didn't try to pet it or lick it or nurture it or comfort it, or it just, boom, it just was there. 90% of the time, it didn't even look at the little kitten. It gave it visual space as well. Now, this is taking you past just seeing a red flag and just avoiding someone, okay? Red flags were not meant to be like, oh, screw this person, don't want to let them know. Red flag is just meant to tune you in, to pay attention, to be aware. And from there, start picking up on the traits and notice, good or bad. That's what the red flags are for. So you have these coaches going around just saying all these red flags, why are you dealing with it? Well, they might actually be a good person. They just are coming from the heart versus the ego. And this is what discernment actually is. Discerning the difference between, yeah, these two people have the same red flag, but this person is coming from their heart and protecting themselves. This person is coming from their ego, wanting to hurt other people. That's discernment, to see and know the difference by paying attention, to listening to the red flag that says, hey, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Begin to notice what's going on. See, people who are just very left brain, logical, either or, everything is black or white to them. So they'll see someone who's on the ground and they're not exercising or jogging like they're supposed to with the team and say, oh, that person's just lazy, when in fact the person has a broken leg. This is why it's really dangerous to look at everything in terms of a red, oh, they got a red flag, so screw them. They might have a red flag because they've been damaged emotionally, and maybe they're a really, really good person who just needs some understanding, compassion, and love. So I was trying to explain this concept to a very left-brained person, and it was just like, well, how can you tell? And that is a good question. You have to learn how to open up to your right brain and gain something that we call discernment. Now, instead of labeling people, which I don't like, one of my overall lessons that I've repeated a lot is you don't need to figure out whether they're a narcissist or not. You don't need to figure out what their title is. A lot of people, it's very convenient to say, oh, well, they're avoidant, they're a narcissist, they're this, they're that. Labeling people. Stop relying on labels and start paying attention to whether they hurt you or not. Start paying attention to whether they're rude or respectful. And that's one thing you'll notice about avoidance. They're very kind. They tend to be very kind and just very good people, and they treat you very well as long as you don't override their boundaries, as long as you don't push beyond their intimacy levels. Give them space. See, that's the difference. And even then, I don't want you to start labeling, oh, they're an avoidant. They're an avoidant narcissist. That's an avoidant empath. Don't do that. Start looking for, are they heart-based? Do they make you feel good? Are they good people? But see, some people, okay, here's the deal. A lot of you are going to be like, he said that when you hug them, they pull away. They're avoidant. No. There are some people who just don't like to hug. They're not physical. Those are what we call kinesthetic. Some people are visual. This is called your deep love strategy, okay? Some people express themselves visually. Some people, and they can do it by a smile. That's how they're expressing their love, and that's how they receive love. Some people do it auditorily by saying, I love you, or, hey, buddy, hey, bestie, how you doing? They say some cute phrase or word that you guys have. Some people need to physically have physical affection and to be hugged. Now, let me give you a warning. Regardless of who this person is, regardless of any kind of label you put on them, and you shouldn't do that. You need to know what you need out of a relationship, okay? You need to not be reliant on these people. You need to realize, what do I need in a relationship? What am I looking for? For example, if you are a kinesthetic, you have a kinesthetic deep love strategy, in other words, you need to be hugged, an avoidant is probably not your best bet. In fact, they're not. So you need to know yourself, knowing what your needs are in order to know or feel that you're loved, okay? And also beginning to notice whether this person is able to love you in the way that you need it consistently. Because if they're not, here's what's going to happen. You're going to feel hurt. You're going to be like, oh, I've done all this stuff for you, and you won't even hug me, or you won't even this, and you don't return my calls. Here's the deal. They may not have the actual capability to do that. That's what you need to start noticing. Don't label them. Don't say they're a good person or a bad person. Just begin to notice, like, hey, this person, something's going on with them. They just don't have the ability to do this. And it's okay. So please, if you're a kinesthetic person, you need physical connection, holding hands, touching, hugging. I'm telling you right now, an avoidant is not the way to go. If you notice that someone pulls away physically, and even like they don't text you right back, they text hours or even days later, this is probably someone who pulls away, and that's just where they're at in this moment. Trying to change them is just going to hurt them. So if you need someone to be closer, like returning texts faster, answering your phone calls more often, hugging you, like physical closeness, etc., probably not the person to date or be in a relationship with, probably not even a friendship. Now, if you are grounded enough and you're okay with that, then yeah, be there for them, be supportive, but don't try to change them. It's the last thing you just literally just be there. Do not push any agenda on them at all, or you're just going to damage them. God bless you guys. I hope this video helped you to have a deeper understanding of what's going on between people and to add clarity to your life so you can get the love to get your love needs met, because that's just as important as allowing someone space. And remember, by giving people space, it allows them to come to you in a comfortable way. And therefore, everybody wins. If you need more physical affection and closeness, then find someone who does this automatically without you having to ask them or beg them. If you have to cajole them into doing it, push them or pull them into doing it, it's probably not their natural way of expressing their love. Find someone who expresses their love naturally without you begging for it or pushing or pulling, and therefore you will have a relationship that fulfills you and completely meets your needs and makes you feel good. Alright, God bless you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. And if you did, please go ahead and click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And if you want, you can always go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. Alright, God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.